So let's jump right in, guys. Episode 100. We've got the whole cast here, which feels like it's been a minute.
Hell yeah.
It has been a while.
It's been a long time. So probably about a month since we've had everybody in studio, I think. I don't know. Brad's high as fuck right now.
I feel it a little bit.
Brad
looks
got
awesome.
Brad got surgery on his arm, and so hopefully the YouTube video picks up on this fucking cast that's literally like the size of his entire body.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
So what kind of meds they got you on?
Yeah, so
are we just...
So are you going to be like...
Good.
Rookie of the year?
yeah, I'm going to come back throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs.
No, you're going to be able to drive even better.
Yeah.
You're going to be able
what
to whip those fucking bitches.
I don't know if I told
Those
you
left
guys
turns.
this or not, but they said, I guess when they cut me open, they found out it was like way worse than what they anticipated. Like the tendons going through my, up in this area. The surgeon said it was like the third worst he's ever seen. So I guess there's like 2 muscles there, no clue, but they like grew together and the tendon like pulled my muscle and like shrunk it. So like he said that like the relief I'm going to have just from like popping those 2 muscles apart and releasing all that tension should be huge.
Just
So,
insane.
yeah. But like the more I talk, the more my ears just be like, wow. So I'm probably going to keep the talking to a minimum of the day.
No, it's even because Dan and I were high on the 420 pod.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Now you're high.
Yeah.
One of these times we got to get Sal fucking, I don't know. Sal, you do any drugs?
Yeah.
Yeah?
All of them?
Is, that
No.
is anybody surprised that Sal does drugs?
The amount of concerts this guy goes to.
And trivia nights.
And lakes.
Lake, not lakes.
Yeah.
He was too cool.
Yeah, he didn't come
It's like
to
a
ours.
kiddie pool lake, bro.
Yeah, so Sal went to a lake. Didn't go to the Ozarks, but we found out why. It's because the Ozarks doesn't have like a designated area that's like 3 feet or less.
Yeah.
Actually,
There's no kiddie pool section of the lake
so he could
itself.
stand.
You can stand in the water. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
so he could stand up there.
You went to Carlisle, right?
Yeah.
Did you go with my sister's boyfriend?
Oh, yeah, Bachman.
Yeah,
He's
that's
awesome.
who you went with?
Oh, your
Chill
sister's
dude.
You were
got a
being
boyfriend?
serious. I thought you
I
were
don't
joking.
know what she has, but yeah, I guess she went with him. I mean, I guess Sal went with him. Yeah.
He has a boat.
Nice.
Small world.
And what else? Anybody been up to anything cool? Anything?
Went to the fair St. Louis, the free concerts that St. Louis does for 4th of July. It's pretty good.
Yeah, Third Eye Blind was actually surprisingly really good.
It was
You got
bad. It was
Yeah.
bad.
It was a lot of fun.
Were the concerts at the Ballpark Village?
Sports Social, where you guys
Oh,
had
yeah.
the baseball outing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That song, what is it? The Jumper?
I
Yeah.
wish you would step back from that ledge.
So it was just a
my
fat.
friend.
It was just a fat sing along, like everybody knew.
Oh,
So it was.
yeah.
It
That was
fun.
the only song everybody knew by
There was-
Third Eye
there's
Blind, right?
I probably knew like 3 or 4.
Semi-Charmed
surprisingly.
Life
Oh, yeah.
is
Yep.
one as well.
Yes.
And that's, I think, where my list stops.
It was actually way
Ones that
more
I know.
packed Sunday than it was Saturday's concert, so I liked it.
Yeah.
I actually had like a little business idea that I thought like would work perfect for Bobby and like his future goals. We'd all probably have to throw in on this though. It was like is a Dave Matthews concert always sold out?
Yeah.
So why don't we just like rent the fucking Fox and pay his fucking fee and like
Yeah, I can tell you this. I would be all over that.
that's what I'm just saying. Like there's so
100%.
like even like a lower end guy, if you knew you could like sell out a place, like why don't more people do that?
That's a good question. No idea.
I feel
I'm
like,
sure it's
I feel
feasible.
like for his tours are like predetermined, and it's like
Well, Dave Matthews was shooting high. I'm just saying, like you could get like somebody who's like a decently known like artist and like
He
Mhm.
does. So he does some private shows. So every once in a while, there will be like I'm on all those nerd pages for Dave, and it'll be like, oh yeah, this. So for example, like DraftKings, they rented out this area, and it was like max capacity 1,000, and then their employees were invited out to go to like a private show, and it's very much so like a very mainstream set list or something like that. I can tell you this: if I got to choose the set list, I'd be 100% down to throw on that.
But I think that's what Shady Gators does. They
Same
pay the
thing.
appearance fee for like Loud Luxury or whatever, and then
Yeah.
they're selling.
yeah.
You know, we didn't even have a chance to talk. This is the first time we've all been together since
Colt-
we went
the Colt
to
Ford
the,
concert?
like Colt Ford.
Dude, that dude was
um,
on the radio I was driving in Nashville, and he was on a commercial for like the
Really?
local Ford dealership.
Come on in and get
Colt
yourself
Ford.
a new
Hey guys, it's Colt
F-150.
Ford. I was like, I fucking saw this dude.
That's
Almost got in a
fucking
fight.
Ben Mises
so Ben-
almost got laid out.
So Ben, we didn't, and Bobby made a good point. We haven't gotten to talk about, because we've been waiting to talk about the lake trip, and we haven't
Every
been on
episode.
the pod since the lake trip, which was beginning of June. And
been a month,
so we were down there, and Ben Mises almost got jumped by a fucking.
He didn't almost got jumped. Like he was.
Yeah,
he
was
almost
got
there.
choked out. Like they grabbed him. They had him by the neck basically because they thought that he was booing during the national anthem.
Because it was a Colt Ford concert.
And
sing national.
They were from Colorado. They had no idea what St. Louis.
It was it was a group of like retired firefighters, old retired like military and firefighter dudes.
I still think we would have won.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, they're tough. They're old as fuck, man. Like,
That wouldn't even been close. 100%. Yeah.
Well, it's at the end of the national
Nick lives
anthem.
for that.
And so, for those that don't know, with being St. Louis Blues fans and home of the Brave, whenever they sing that, all the
Says
Blues
Blues,
fans say Blues, and so these guys behind us 100% thought we were just booing the. Who is at a Colt Ford concert booing the national anthem? So
who's in the Lake of the Ozarks booing?
Who's at a Colt Ford concert?
Yes,
You can just stop there. Who's at a
That's
Colt
it.
Ford concert?
Not many people.
I'm not
I'll tell
gonna
you
lie,
this.
maybe
I'll
I
tell
made
you
a
this,
mistake.
0% good-looking women. Like at that Colt Ford concert.
There were like 5 women.
There was women in general.
And 10
Yes.
people.
And there was like, but every woman that we did see was like in her like 60s or 70s, and we were just like, what is going on? But Bobby saw, of course, Bobby like recognized him.
Being the mega bro that I am.
This guy that was on The Bachelor.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Higgins was there, and
What?
that dude,
Oh, the dude from Eureka?
You don't remember that?
dude? No, not from Eureka.
You don't remember The Bachelor?
This guy's from Chicago, and I saw this guy not because there was a stretch where I watched like every episode of The Bachelor and Bachelorette.
I
It's
can
just
see that.
it's off the television because of me or because
Not
it's
surprising.
a great show.
I've never seen that.
I already
episode.
assumed that. You didn't have to tell me.
So fair enough. And no, saw him there, and he looked like he was blazed out of
Dave
his
Matthews,
mind. And
The
all of
Bachelor.
him and his buddies were dressed the exact same way. They all had jean shorts on
The
with
jorts,
like
yep.
Vans.
They were
and
at the Colt
Don't
Ford
hate on the
concert.
Vans.
They were at the Colt Ford concert. And nothing
No
wrong with
shit.
Vans, but they were all just dressed the same.
I
Is
gotta
what I
look
was
him
getting
up.
at.
You don't remember that?
Is Colt Ford like a country?
so his
he's an older
he got
country dude.
engaged, and maybe this
Never
isn't
heard.
important, but he got engaged at the end of the show to this girl Lauren Bushnell, and then they broke up, and she started dating Chris Lane, the country singer.
I figure her name sounds way more familiar than him.
She's
But then they
attractive.
went to, what was it, Shady Gators? Is that where we went afterwards?
Yeah.
They went there too, and he was trying to get with Jupiter.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
really?
Jupiter,
Ben
there's so
Yeah.
many.
Higgins?
Yeah.
He was trying to get with
Yeah.
Jupiter, and she chose.
How do you not remember all this?
She chose our Ben over the
Ben
Bachelor
Higgins.
Ben. Now I gotta give Ben more credit.
Oh, and
man.
then another
should-
another quick like story, which wasn't much of a story, but Dan and Brad got into a little bit of a shoving match mid boat while Dan's shit faced drunk and Brad's driving. So I think you jerked the boat and like ended up tripping up Dan.
so
right?
I was going full throttle to no throttle.
Just killed it. He jerked the boat once, and then that's when Dan turned around because Dan he had a little bit of something to drink, and he had his new mustache rocking, and then he was just like, "Dude, stop fucking with it." And then it's like you could tell Brad was a little annoyed with Dan telling him what to do. That was the main thing. Was like Dan will not tell me what to fucking do. And then as soon as Dan started walking up again, he threw it fucking hard, and then they came to just like kind of wrestling each other, like arms extended, and it was pretty
Now look
funny
at me.
time.
And then we,
Yeah. Who won?
Then we slept next to each other, and we made up. So.
The thing is, both hands,
He's still caught.
no real punches were thrown.
No.
I think.
Wait, I feel like you're also leaving out the fact that I was in a goddamn thong.
a thong.
Oh my God.
A thong
Belly
Speedo.
We'll post the video.
So
That should be posted.
Well, so it should have been already reposted by the professional development account. But yeah, there was a belly flop contest, and Brad stepped right up, dropped his drawers, and in this case, he had on a red, white, and blue thong with suspenders
And a bow tie.
and a bow tie
it was
to
pretty
match
epic.
it. I mean, it was pretty badass, pretty patriotic. It got the people going. He should have won.
Somehow didn't win.
But some guy that did like a backflip into, or like a gainer into a belly flop won, which is like cool. Like that's athletic.
Flex.
But like,
I don't remember that either.
no. I think there's only
Dan
like
must
four
have
people.
missed a lot on the trip.
I was drinking.
Dan
I can't
had,
believe you don't remember the Bachelor thing. That was like a conversation.
Was it?
Yeah,
No.
for sure. It was.
Dan
There's
had,
no fucking way.
We
Why
talked
didn't we
to-
get him on the pod? We should have said something.
who?
Ben Higgins.
I just didn't know who it was. Bobby is the one that
Bobby was
recognized
fanboying
him.
for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool because
And he hit
I
on
was just,
Jupiter?
I did not see that.
I
so
I
I don't
100%
know.
saw that.
I don't
Jupiter
know.
said no.
I mean, I don't know what she said.
How's the
Jupiter was in love with another Ben.
Guys, I still think about the Jupiter and just like the doppelganger of that chick from Trolls. Like, I just can't get it out of my head.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever saw that comparison.
I'll have to send it again, but it's fucking hilarious. I mean, it literally
Ben
just,
listens to this
I know, it
show
makes it even better.
every episode too.
Do you think he still has the mustache? Because he was
He
still
does,
rocking
yeah.
it. That's amazing. Good for him.
Yeah, and Dan loves his frozen drinks. Those
Yeah,
those
Dan was
I'm having
Hurricanes.
36 frozen drinks.
What, and
the hurricane with the shot in them,
Oh,
the floater
dude,
shot.
I just had those this week.
Yeah,
I
I
was
saw that.
craving-
I saw you were sipping on one while you were watching your
I
kids at the
Go
water
down
park.
water slides.
Dude, they're too good. That's the only reason why I went there.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a good time though. It was a really, really good lake trip. So forgot we were supposed to talk about that. So glad we did. Do we got anything else in particular that's going on in life in general that we want to talk about, catch up on, or whatever?
I got a lot going on right now. I bought 2 more machines. I've got another one given to me as part of like a demo trial deal to test out. So pretty much almost doubled capacity in the shop. So it's pretty exciting. I
Hell yeah.
landed the aerospace gig that I've been hustling forever is like finally rocking and rolling, like POs flowing in through the door. Like that was
Fuck
the
yeah.
goal at the beginning of the year. So stuff's going good for me. Actively searching for building property. If I can't, I'm trying to buy an existing building now. If I don't find anything by January 1st, we're gonna buy the land that we found. So that's what's on my horizon. So far so good.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, good shit. Dan, how's your life, man?
Good.
We don't see each other as much.
I know. I've been busy with the kids. It's been hard. Do the pod stuff as much, but
Now running three different sectors of the recruitment side.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the building is almost done. So got drywall up this week. We had to source 100-year-old floors to match the ones that were in there. Got those put in. So we're doing paint and the rest of the flooring over the next week and a half, and
Yeah.
try to get occupancy. So almost there.
For the Airbnb side.
No, I mean I'm hoping the Airbnb gets done at the same time, but for now,
Just
priority is the office because we're out. We're on the streets at the end of the month.
at the end of August or end of July.
End of July, we're done with Tech Artista.
Oh, okay.
So got that going on. I've had a lot of that going on. It's also golf season, so I'm practicing. Tournaments coming up.
Yeah.
Won the second round of the club championship.
Nice.
bracket play.
Have we played the
On to
homeboy yet?
No, he's gone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
got the boot.
Yeah.
He's done.
The one
Forgot.
who hollered at you last year or was getting really pissed off at you last year.
Yeah. So he's out. But yeah, 3 more rounds and trying to go back to back.
And these are head-to-head matchups.
Yeah,
Each
they're
round.
match play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think that guy is now? Is he at a different country club?
Bellerive.
Should we look him up on LinkedIn?
Oh, there's a good story about him that came up though. So he got kicked out of another country club.
Oh.
After.
No, before.
Oh.
This surfaced later. And he got into it with a guy like at the bar at that country club. And he's the guy leaves. Well, he's an attorney. So he calls a police friend of his and says, hey, this guy's drunk and he's driving.
Oh,
Wait,
damn.
who called?
Oh man.
Who,
That's,
The
that's
guy,
Dude.
the
wait,
guy
wait,
who's
who's
the douchebag
Who's an
called-
attorney?
The lawyer.
So the lawyer, so the dude that got kicked out of your country club,
Yeah.
the fucking the douchebag that you just smoked in golf in the championship.
Yeah.
What a bitch.
He got an argument with somebody else, and so he
And
called
previously,
a cop
before he,
Yeah.
at a different
country club. He called a
his
cop.
cop friend,
to talk about the guy who got in an argument with.
to
say he
tell
was
him
drinking
he's
and driving.
drinking and driving, gets him a D-dub. He has
Shut
to
the
go to
fuck
court.
up.
Guess who at the time was the county prosecutor?
Oh,
He was.
boy.
He was.
No.
Oh.
No fucking way.
Yeah, dude.
The person he called the cops on?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That is some next level, like, that's
So now you know.
That's like
That's
blackmail
petty.
a little bit. Blackmail? Is that a thing?
I
Not
don't think
really.
that's
Not
that's
blackmail.
not
Wow.
blackmail.
But it's not cool.
I mean,
but that's also some like, I got some money and connections, fuck you shit. Like that's, which I think it's a fucking douchebag
It's ve-
move, but it's like,
it's definitely a power play.
It's
Like,
a
keep
power
fucking
play.
with me.
It's 100% a power play, but he's a fucking clown.
He needs to get his ass completely fucking beat into the ground.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, fuck that
Damn.
noise.
Anywho, just thought you'd like that story.
That is a good one.
Came up. Well, cool. What else we got?
Any other updates? No?
Not a mooch.
Oh, you didn't get up on the skis? Water skiing?
I did when using.
I'm
the
sure they
boom.
told you the same thing. You just get. It's just the tip.
So my uncle said that he was maybe not going fast enough because he was going about the same speed to pull up Shelby as he was going to pull up me. So he was like, maybe next time I'll try this. But whenever I was up on the little boom, which I guess they use for like barefoot skiing and stuff, I got up on that and then I was leaning forward too far and then I
looked
hit
like
some
you were
waves
holding
and I
on
was
for your
jumping
life.
on and then I was like, you could see my face go from like,
Your face-
oh, this is so much fun to like, oh, fuck, something's wrong. And whenever I fell backwards, the ski hit me right in the fucking asshole.
Oh.
And it was so close to smacking my nuts. And he was like, you ready to go again? And I was like, I'm done. I was like, that was a little close. But Shelby was
It
great
reminds
at
me
it.
of like something that would happen to Gaylord Fokker.
Yeah.
Like on a family trip with his girlfriend's family.
Yep, pretty much. But it was my family. That was the thing. That was the worst part about it is I was just embarrassed in front of my own blood. So I don't know what's worse is embarrassment in front of my family or hers.
Jeez. Damn, dude. Well,
Yeah, it's okay. Worse things have happened. I'm not a water sports guy.
thoughts and prayers to your gooch, bud.
Put a ball
Yep.
in my hand and I'm better.
What about you, Matt?
I feel like
You,
Matt's a water sports guy.
Me? No. I mean, no.
He doesn't have the coordination.
He
Give me the
you
ball.
None
I
of you guys followed that.
What?
Water sports.
What's water sports?
You
Is
never
this
heard
a-
that term?
Is this a squirt joke?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh. See, I thought it was like a gay thing. I didn't. Brad's got so many like jokes. You don't know which way he's going with them. I don't know.
Oh, man.
Oh man. Okay. Well, on that note, you guys want to get into? We got a lot to cover. So, and we're gonna ask Brad all the questions
Yeah.
because Brad just looks high as fuck right now.
Hashtag jelly.
You got notes, Brad?
A couple.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna talk about peaks, valleys, highs, lows, everything that we've done to get here to episode 100. It's been pretty cool. And actually, as of June, it was exactly 2 years since we started the podcast. So we're going to start with favorite quotes of all time. So these are actual quotes that we've used or that we've seen or that, in our lives in terms of professional, personal development. So what are your favorite quotes?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have a bad memory.
It doesn't have to be since you've used them, but like
And I don't,
all-time quotes.
like one of my favorite all-time quotes
This better be an
of all
OGDG, I
time.
swear to God.
It's not.
Fuck.
If you can dream it, you can do it. That's
Who? By who?
Walt Disney.
Oh, nice. I thought you didn't know for a second. Who
No.
said it?
I know that one.
Dan Greiner.
And mine kind of tags along with that too. Is it's whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, and that's Napoleon Hill.
And I think that both of those kind of go along the whole. You go to Florida, and I brought up this example numerous times on the podcast. But you go to the ocean, you see these guys with yachts. You're like, if that guy can have a fucking yacht, I can have a yacht. If you can dream it, you can do it.
Yep.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big fan there. So I got two.
Oh.
Hold it, Dan. I just saw
Dan.
Dan might come with a couple.
Okay.
It said one though.
So
All right.
it says there's an S in there.
Sal
Favorite
doesn't
quotes.
get to go now.
So one is super fitting. It's just for this podcast. You're the average of the 5 people you associate yourself most with, right? This is why we did this. We wanted to associate ourselves with people that are continuously growing. And then actually, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Oh,
Like
How could we not have that?
So here's what I found out though. We use that as our quote. And I know it's been said like,
It's someone else's?
but here's the thing. It's like usually somebody takes a quote, like Dan will like rip off a quote and just like change the verbiage up and be like OGDG. And I thought that's what we did. But apparently we stole those exact words from Tony Robbins and it's his quote.
Never heard of him.
So we'll fight it out with him.
Yeah.
He's big. You know, he's got too much HGH.
Well, he doesn't stop.
That's why his
growing.
head's so big.
That's 0%
Really?
surprising.
Yeah. Like his body literally produces too much HGH. That's why he's just such a massive
Naturally.
fucking man.
So
Like,
he's
why
not
can't
on
they do that
TRT.
to me?
No, he's not cheating like other people.
Fucking orange juice, man.
Is that like an asterisk beside your like 75 hard pictures, like with
I
TRT?
wasn't on it then.
Oh, okay.
No asterisk.
Is it Tren?
No. Somebody was talking about what trend was. So
What
there's
is
like,
that?
I don't know what that is.
so it was when I was down in Denver, this guy was like, because if you see any like these meme pages, they'll talk about trend. Like the Gains is a funny one. And apparently like trend is like the god of all like steroids and drugs, where it's just like you get unbelievably jacked. You can eat whatever the fuck you want, right? And you just get not only big, but like shredded too. So you just gain a bunch of muscle, lose a bunch of fat, and you can eat whatever the fuck you want. And you have all the energy in the world.
Have a heart attack at 50.
But but reasons that it's black market shit. Yeah.
Sounds like some Bedros stuff.
Sounds like, yeah.
Sounds like that episode. Dan's going to say something.
Where do you get it?
Research purposes.
Donuts.
Where do you find this?
I just bought 1 Bitcoin.
How much trend will 1 Bitcoin get?
Yeah.
Oh
man. That's
so
a good one.
Yeah. So that's the ones I got. What do you got, Bob?
I got so this is one I've used on here multiple times, but especially with my personal journey, it always resonates with me. A person does not decide their future. A person decides their habits, and their habits decide their future. And that's an F.M. Alexander quote. He's from like the 1800s. But just in looking back and auditing what I was doing for the previous, up until the last 2 years, just looking at everything that I did on a day-to-day basis and how that compounded into me being the person that I was at that time, which was fat, alcoholic, drug lover, but then changing the way that I am doing things, whether it's saving money every single day or putting in consistent effort day in and day out on whether it's my diet or the work that I'm putting in. And I don't know, I just feel like we're all just scratching the surface of what we're capable of and speaking things into existence, like what Dan and Brad said between the aerospace stuff or Dan eventually. Like, I mean, I know he's just got a pontoon right now that kills every once in a while whenever you're that dies every once in a while when you're out there, but that will be a yacht one day. I have full confidence in that happening. So
Gotta crawl before you can ball.
Crawl
before you can ball. That's also we'll say that's an OGDG too.
Is that a little Wayne quote?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did he say crawl before you can ball?
Mm-hmm. Maybe he said crawl before you ball.
Crawl before
Okay.
you ball.
So
Totally different.
Totally,
You see the
OGDG.
difference there?
I do. That's a great business model.
Salil?
So I just did my favorite quote from like a movie. And it was like, why do we fall so that we can learn to pick ourselves up? It was Alfred Pennyworth from The Dark Knight. Sorry.
Okay.
Did you
I like
say
that. I like
sorry
that
after
one.
you
though.
said that?
I was like,
He just, as soon as
you
he
guys
got
are, like,
done
bringing
saying
up
that,
quotes
he goes,
from like previous episode. I'm like, shit. Like,
No,
I
no,
told
no,
him
it's
this
not
from
previous
previous
episodes.
episodes.
It's just
greatest
quotes.
quote. Okay, so that's okay.
So it's just.
Yeah,
I mean, now
you're
most
good.
of ours are from like people that like wrote books on like
Hey man,
professional
some movie
development, but
lines
it's
are
still
pretty good.
Not Batman.
it's still a solid book. It's still a solid quote though. I'm not hating 100%. So let's
86.
let's shift gears. Favorite quotes or things people might have said during the podcast. I think here's my. I did this one specifically for this. I think everybody maybe they'll have a different one.
Oh, I got
I guarantee someone's got this one as well. And it goes, all right, guys, favorite stoner snack, Kresko, Sour Patch Kids, Dan Greiner. Wait. Have you ever tried Sour Patch Kids with water? Yeah.
I got the same one written down.
Yeah, me too.
Do you? Yeah. Do you really?
So my favorite.
I just wrote down Dan's water and Sour Patch Kids quote.
Yes.
I figured
my
that
favorite
would
part
come
was
out.
so Matt would be like, "So Dan, you got a quote?" And he just like pauses for like a good 2 minutes and starts laughing for 5 minutes straight. And then after everyone goes through their quotes, Dan goes like, "When in doubt, smoke it out," and just starts laughing.
It was so hard for him
It
to
was
say.
very hard to get out because it's fucking hilarious.
I mean, that was genius to do that episode high, but I was way fucking high.
It was really
well,
hard
you have to imagine how high.
Oh,
I was.
you-
It was so
I was
hard.
paranoid.
It was so hard to do that episode seriously, where like I would have loved to have been stoned on that episode like 2 years ago. But I was just sitting there like, I remember just like, I have nothing to add here. I'm just going to let these guys laugh it the fuck out.
So we were so fucking baked, and because we
Drew
smoked,
was baked as shit
Drew,
too.
and
He like
he's-
couldn't even formulate a sentence.
and Drew smokes every fucking day, and so Dan and I are
It
sitting there
was
like,
420.
holy
so
shit! Like, and of course we walk in. It's the one time we walk in, and like, it's not just like Rich here. It's just like Rich, and then there's a bunch of like random interns that are just standing, and all the lights are on, so we just got to sit there. And Dan and I are just like looking at each other. We're like, "Is this weird? Is this
like,
weird?" And yeah, but that was a great one.
Was that quotes or moments?
So you can
Favorite
quote
quotes
or
on the
moment.
pod.
Oh no, moments is the next one. Sorry, favorite quote that happened on the pod.
Well, I don't remember any.
I have one.
You got nothing. We can just go.
I have
you
one.
got one.
Yeah. Well, I guess any of these could be moments too, but I went back and listened to the Jason Selk episode this morning. And one of that to me was just such an eye-opening episode. And I didn't read the book before that. Now I've read it 3 times since. But in that episode, Matt was talking about how he couldn't understand Maxwell Maltz's psychocybernetics and how you felt like an idiot reading. You're like, I don't understand anything. And Matt said, I feel like I'm too stupid to grasp the concept of it. And then he finished the rest of his thought. And then before Selk started, he said, stop. He said, don't ever say that about yourself again. He goes, and then you laughed a little bit and he said, I'm serious. Self-confidence is the same as self-image. And then he described 3 key points from that book. The first one being self-image is determined by how we talk to ourselves about ourselves. Point number 2, most people's self-image is far below where it should be because point number 3, most people are talking to themselves about themselves negatively and even in jest. Our mind oftentimes doesn't understand humor, so we have to control how we're talking to ourselves about ourselves.
Yeah.
And I just remember that stuck out to me so much because he had said that and it was funny. Matt was poking fun at himself, but I really tried to take that to heart. And I even remember after that, because Matt and I were playing a lot of volleyball and doubles, and we need to get something booked for Nashville Beach soon. But even whenever we would play in tournaments after that, it was so fresh in our minds that even when one of us would fuck up, neither of us would ever say shit to each other, but we would always be like, stupid motherfucker, like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a noticeable difference in how we played, and we played a whole lot better. So I just think it's something, obviously going a little bit more serious on that route, but something that really stood out to me, and it's stuck in my head ever since.
I was actually talking to somebody about that recently. Yeah, it's essentially a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? The way that you talk to yourself, it's like, oh, I'll never do that, or I can't do that, or I'm such a fucking idiot, or whatever. It's like I'm a firm believer in a lot of that. So I think that's a good one. And
So if are we still talking about favorite moments?
so now we're getting to favorite moments.
Okay.
Because I think that was a quote. So
Yep.
you want to kick us off with favorite moment?
Yeah. So for me, one of the coolest parts about the podcast in general has been like, we go to Andy Frisella. He looks at us like, who the fuck are these D-bags? We go to Bedros and he's like, oh, look, there's 4 guys here coming to interview me. We go to Jason Selk and he looks at us like, yeah, whatever. Like, let's just get this
Where are you
over
going
with.
to set up? Yeah.
And then by the time our hour's done with these guys, they like genuinely look at you and are like, you guys did a really fucking good job. And like for this really just being like essentially like a hobby of ours to like kind of push each other to another level, I think that's pretty rewarding. And it makes me feel like our time is like worth something, like, oh, we're actually doing something for the good. And then just also the moments of obviously Colorado trip, probably favorite thing as far as like personal professional development by far was that trip. And then all these masterminds we're doing and actually literally seeing people like making moves in their life that it's not us, but like if it wasn't for us setting these up and having these conversations with people, they might not have ever made that step.
Oh, tell the Tommy story.
Yeah, so Tommy Holmes, he was at, you're getting ready to lose me for a second though. He was at our last mastermind. He got up, real shy guy, means so well. And he made a move and he signed a contract or sold a.
So just to give a little bit of context, because I think you're trying to say this, but
Yeah,
you're
you're
too high to
losing me a little
remember.
bit, yeah.
Okay. So he, everybody was going around because he was like, I want to make more impact and I want to do this. So how do I make more relationships? Anyway, we got down to like, he just wants more clients. And then they were just like, well, can you find a way to do royalties? And everyone was like, what? And it was like this whole debate back and forth on whether or not how to get clients first off. And then if he could figure something out to where it's like, here's a lesser fee up front, but when I do good, like you're going to give me royalties for every click and this and that or whatever that you get from it. And not even 3 weeks later, Brad texts us in the group and he's like, he signed a new deal that they're going to bring him on for like a year long or whatever the fuck it is. And then like, he'll get like some type of
he
royalties.
gets some sort of royalties for each sale of the course that they're doing. So he was just like, man, tell everybody thanks, for pushing me and allowing me to be a part of this group and stuff. And it's just like, that's just like one person, and I know we've done that with other people as well.
Yep.
So like, that's almost where I see us maybe transitioning this stuff to more as events and stuff like that. Because I feel like for me, it's a little bit more rewarding.
Yeah, for sure. So stuff outside the pod, I agree. I think that it really hit me the impact that, we've kind of made whenever we kind of started doing those masterminds and seeing people actually fucking show up. Because when we first started as a book club, nobody showed up. You know what I mean? And so I think that like it kind of came full circle in the fact that we tried once, nobody showed up. Over time, we started a podcast, we did some things, and then all of a sudden you have 25 to 40 people that are signing up and showing up for these events. And that's pretty rewarding to see them put themselves in a vulnerable position in front of people that they don't know, but know that everybody's like-minded and that they're going to help them. And then to see the results from that. In fact, like Dom today, I had a client come up and for him, that I'm moving over for copywriting. So just like stuff like that you get out of it, like you really feel like, hey, I gave back, I gave value. And that's where it's like, okay, well, all of this is worth it because this shit's hard to keep up with. I mean, Brad probably does the majority of the stuff that you guys see. But it's still, I mean, we joke about it all the time. Oh, page 2 of Google, you got your quote. But like, seriously, like, it's hard to mix this. We don't get paid anything and we do work and then we come do this and we try to give as much back as we can.
So it's funny you say that. There's been a couple of people that I haven't caught up with, but they know that I do a podcast for a while, and they think my business is podcasts. Like they're like, oh damn, you seem like you're killing it. Like, how much are you making on how much can you make doing a podcast? I'm like motherfucker, like I pay to do a podcast. I don't get paid a fucking thing, but I look at it as 100% as an investment. Like this is something that is like we're investing time. Just the idea of like putting a topic about business or personal or professional development together and having to put pen to paper or having to articulate it makes you so much more competent to talk about that shit. And it's like, because of this, it's like, and we're kind of getting off here, but it's like, I know way more about like the stock market and crypto and like all this other shit or current events, like actual political current events that are important because of this podcast. But because before I would have never researched this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wanted to go back. So that's like one of my favorite moments in terms of what we're doing, but best moments on the air. I wanted to revisit that real quick. Yeah, I do think the Sour Patch one was funny. But when we first started, we were in that studio. We were in that fucking studio with the dude.
The second studio? Not
next core.
Not next core. Yeah, no. Yeah. We leveled up. The quality was not bad.
It was way better.
But this dude, he would have his shirt off, a baby, smoking a joint.
Nuggets on the table, weed nuggets.
But then
there'd be a fucking one of those lizards, one of those fucking one of those bearded dragons.
Yeah, that one time we were just like in the middle of a pod and like a whole crew comes in. They're like lifting stuff like the arch or whatever. And
go to party this weekend, man.
Baby's crying
in the background.
We're just like, what the
dogs peeing
fuck
on
is
Bobby's
going
shoes.
On here? So that, and then when we did the Emily Priscilla one, and Matt glitched out.
Oh damn!
I have written on here
You
that
like-
one time I came back from a trip super hungover. We interviewed Emily Frisella and I introduced her.
He's
as
already
Andy
losing
Frisella.
it.
Yeah, I'm already getting fucking flashbacks to it.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
glitching out.
Legit thought that Matt was stroking out for sure. That was a little scary.
So there was-
couldn't
And
get
then you
much-
said another word, and I was like, you said that wrong. And then even she said something, and you
He's
were
like, no, I
didn't.
didn't. What are you talking
So
about?
there's 2 to 3 times
He said
I
that
realized
wrong.
I fucked up, and then like the last 2 times I was just like, I don't even know at this point.
Obviously, Emily Frisella must just be like Matt's like ultimate chick. Like that's the only time he's ever
total
been frazzled.
intimidation.
Just thinking about her now, he's already just
No, it was like 5 days of drinking, and that was about it. Yeah, and little to no sleep. But yeah, that was for sure one of the funniest times. And I was hoping we would. It's actually a lot funnier probably that we put it out there. But at first I was like, fuck, I hope we can cut that. And even Emily was like, no, fuck that. Put it how you have it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're keeping your fuck ups.
Yeah.
So,
So now that we're on like funny moments, so this isn't one particular moment. But it's like the most mind-boggling recurring thing that happens, and it's that the fact that like Sal does not know where a microphone goes in order to record sound on it. It's like this is the first time it's ever been. It's like he'll be 5 feet away. Or the one time we were here a week or two ago when you guys weren't here, he literally had the microphone on his lap.
It was on his
like
nuts.
next to his dick on his lap, and he was just up here talking.
Should have ripped it.
And Rich, and instead of Rich, it was so funny. And instead of Rich, like just being like, "Hey Sal, move up the microphone," he came over and like adjusted it off of Sal's nuts for him. And Sal's just sitting there letting this all happen, and Matt's just like, "Hold on, stop! What the fuck are you doing, Sal?" And he was just in another world.
Rich
He's
is
like,
such a
I'm
professional.
tired.
Yeah.
That was a good
awesome.
one. That was a good
One
for
thing
sure.
that's not on here was we've tried a lot of different like skits, like Just the Tip and all that. And I just want to say that was probably my favorite, was Just the Tip out of all the like little segment things we did. And we don't do that anymore.
That produced a lot of value too, I thought. Except for when Colin did it.
Well,
Oh,
no,
his
that's what I was-
Kobe-
that was
his
one of
Kobe
the-
story?
Okay.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, you can
Tell it.
No, it's just
So-
I mean, we agreed that it was going to be like a
30
What?
seconds? Like 30-second just snippet of like, hey, here's your quick tip for the
It
week.
was like 6
Yeah.
minutes. It was a solid 6 minutes, and he still hadn't
Here's how to be
gotten
better
the
at
point.
budgeting.
He started talking about Kobe.
Yeah,
So Kobe
Yeah,
Bryant.
this was the
Kobe.
follow up. Yeah, this was the at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden Colin starts talking. I wish if there's a way to edit that whole clip into here or like afterwards.
No,
like,
we'll lose every viewer.
yeah, we'll lose everybody. And it's just
Dude.
like he starts talking about Kobe, and then he starts talking about like determination, and then like a book, and then it's just like every story gets halfway through
He
and leads
talks
to
about
another
Jordan,
story.
and
Yeah.
He's
And
talking
then
about Tim
afterwards-
Grover.
The best part though is afterwards he's like, "So what'd you guys think? Like, was that
he was
good?"
like pumped.
And we're just like, bro, that was fucking 10 minutes long.
We like had to establish rules after that. Like we need to have a meeting.
I got a
about-
funny story about him, man. He hit me up last week and he's like, "Hey fucker, you gonna buy me lunch this week?" And I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, I want you to switch your insurance over." And I'm like, "Well, should this be, hey, can I buy you lunch? And we'll talk about insurance."
Sales.
He texted me last week too. Where's your auto insurance? 'Cause
Yeah.
he's got some of my policies.
Oh man, sales 101 right there,
Yeah.
right? You
Hey,
reach out,
fucker.
say, hey,
Hey,
fucker,
fucker.
you're gonna buy me lunch, and then you're gonna buy my shit.
Yeah. It must work for somebody.
My question would be,
Power
how
man.
much money are you gonna fucking save me if I'm buying you lunch?
Yeah. Do you guys have any others inside the podcast, or do you guys have any moments like outside of the actual podcast that I mean, we talked about the lake and stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. Honestly, California, like going to California, like that's the first time I've ever been West Coast.
Really?
So yeah,
No.
ever. And
Bedros trip was cool.
Bedros trip was badass. Like we got to meet a lot of cool guys. He ended up turning out to be really fucking cool. We got that was the first video that we have a podcast besides like the old school one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it
On
was
that
a-
guy's like
legit vid.
used Android phones.
yes, right. And what was his name again?
Justin.
I don't
It
know.
sounds right.
Didn't he have a nickname that he went by? He went by oh god, it was like Jay Kicks or something like that.
I
Or
don't
something
know.
like that. I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah. So just going to California in general, like I did love Colorado. That was because that was the first one, so that was cool. But for whatever reason, like going out to California as a group, that was fun. We obviously got to do a podcast with one of the most successful fitness franchise entrepreneur in the United States, along with everything else that he's got going on. Played some doubles, volleyball. Got to fucking stare at chicks up and down the beach for a while. Had some good food. That was probably one of the
You also
cooler
got
times.
to go to a Dave Matthews show too.
I did, yeah, which was fun. The Joe Rogan concert was a lot of fun
Joe
too.
Rogan was
So
awesome.
I was on phase 1 at the time, so I just took some edibles before that concert, so it was fun.
Yeah,
but-
Joe Rogan was hilarious for sure. That was definitely one of my highlights as well. I thought California was fun, despite not being able to play doubles since I fucked up my calf and
Yeah.
forced Matt to play volleyball with a C player.
Yeah, Connor.
He's a good
Connor's a
dude.
big
Shout
fan
out
of the
Connor.
podcast. The fucking man. Like,
We love you, Connor.
the nicest dude, but just needs some sharpening up on the doubles skills. So,
Would you have rather played with me?
I mean, no.
you don't think you would have rather played with
How's your-
Dan? I think Dan would have been a decent player.
I
Dan's
could
athletic.
I
He
could
played.
set.
So Connor played volleyball in college. Yes, so he's not fucking like awful.
But the
It's
thing
just
is, he's a middle, and that just doesn't translate well to
Sand.
Dan's never played volleyball. Period. I think you're.
I think Dan.
I think you're highly underestimating Dan's sports abilities.
I think Dan's athletic
I
guy.
know.
I'm not saying Dan's not athletic.
I've seen this guy handle a
I've seen
hockey
him.
stick, and it's pretty impressive.
I'm sure you've seen him handle a couple sticks. All right.
Well, I remember watching
I've always
him
been a
play
ball and
against.
stick kind of guy.
Did you guys? Oh, you guys weren't there yet. But at the lake, when we got there, we like open up Dan's doors, and like the very first thing that comes out of his mouth is, "Just so you guys know, Brad's bunking with me." Like he unlocked the door, and the first thing he said is, "Brad and I have the master."
he did that in
I don't
Colorado
think I
too.
said that. I don't think I said that. Oh, if we want to talk about favorite
And then,
moments outside of the pod.
And then in California,
No.
he threw
No,
your suitcase on his bed.
Oh, how about speaking of
No.
the hotel in
Exactly.
California? How about the underwear?
No, that's exactly.
Is that where you're
That's what I was
going?
going to bring it up.
Talk about it.
Randomly, there's a thong, female thong,
Mm-hmm.
that is Matt's.
Wait, first of all, we have to address that Matt's one of the weird fuckers that goes to a hotel and unpacks his entire suitcase
true.
in
Yeah.
the dresser.
That's
Yeah.
To be
psychopath
fair though,
level.
that's pretty. I don't know. I started doing that because of Matt, and it
That's
made me feel a
weird.
whole lot more organized.
It just
I don't
makes-
know.
yep.
It
When you got
gives
four,
you a
dude,
sense of being
first off,
settled.
when you got three other guys staying in that hotel, three grown ass men.
That room smelled
and
like farts.
The smell of that fucking hotel room
Straight farts.
was just, and they wouldn't clean it because it was fucking COVID, and they
Matt
didn't want to
got
come
so
in our
mad.
room.
It was like every 6 days.
It
or
was
something
just
like that.
It was just
bad.
Matt
Dan
was
and
getting-
Brad's farts up and fucking down that place
Matt got so mad coming back from that grocery store.
in Colorado.
You were about to kill somebody.
In Colorado,
Yeah.
yeah, because you guys were so fucking high,
Dude, that was
Well,
hilarious.
that's the
too.
point. We were fucking in
And
Colorado.
you guys left the fucking dispensary and immediately just like light the joint, drink the fucking THC soda,
Papa Gummy.
Papa Gummy.
This gummy's not working.
Why would
right
you
away.
wait? Why would you wait?
And you
Just
guys
do
are just
it.
wandering around Walmart, and it was like herding fucking cats.
Yeah.
And just you could hear Brad and Dan giggling like throughout the fucking Walmart or wherever
Yeah, it
we
was
were.
pretty funny.
It was a good time.
Yep. So, what else we got?
Flip side, worst moments.
Worst moments since we started. Dude, the awkward Brad and Bobby thing.
I wrote that down.
I had that too.
Dude, that
But here's
is
the thing: is
wild.
it was
Wait. So before we stop, like, we got to actually somebody tell a story before we start jumping story to story. So whoever wants to say it, just tell the actual story, what happened, or give somebody the cliff notes.
Sure, I can.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't care. So we were meeting at Tech Artista, and we were talking. At that point, like the pod seemed to have little to no momentum, or like, well, I shouldn't say that. There were some good things. There was a lot of momentum. The thing was, Brad was doing a fucking lot of the shit, as far as from like a social media standpoint and whatnot. And I'll be honest, I was disengaged at that time, and then we were going back and forth. And I remember I just was kind of sitting back, and I just felt like I had nothing to say. And I started talking about a couple different things, and Brad basically said, Bobby, you bring no value. I don't know why you're here, essentially. And dude, it was rough, man. Like I was like already doubting myself in so many different areas.
Oh, it was just like
and it was like
everything.
I felt like a beat puppy.
Everything in the energy of that room just like changed. But here's the thing: it was like there was a bunch of things that needed to be addressed that were kind of pussyfooted around with the podcast as a whole, and just like the entire energy changed. Like at one point, I was like, somebody could fight like in the middle of this thing. Like tensions were high.
I
Shit was
remember
getting-
I had a
shit-
volleyball in my hand that you just had in there, and I was just like, so it took so much of me not to just throw it and be like, let's fucking go. And I kept my cool somehow, other than
That
just
was
like
wild.
I cried a lot. I'll be honest, because I was just like, you know what, he's probably fucking right. And I remember I talked to Shelby afterwards, and it wasn't like a, oh fuck Brad thing. I was just like, maybe I bring no fucking value. And she was like, you need to think about this more. And she actually talked me into having some more conversations about it. And shoot, I remember Dan left me a long voicemail. Brad, we talked, and honestly, I feel like, and that was before we went to California. And then I think we just never really gotten on the same page as far as like where we're, because I'm like, you guys are at a very different point in your like professional careers and even personal lives than I am. And like, it was kind of funny. Matt was gone, I think, on a workout. Dan had left for Vegas, and Brad and I, even though there's 2 beds there in California, are just sitting there next to each other, laying with just briefs and shirtless in bed, just talking about our stories. He was naked, both farting, and like even before that, squashed some stuff. But even though that was like a worse moment, in the moment, it ultimately was something that I felt like it was, I don't know, I think it was good for like us. Like
it was very bad delivery for sure. Like I feel like a conversation had to be had, but it was very piss poor delivery on my part that made it worse. I feel like we've definitely came a long way since then. For sure. Because we connect actually on more levels than probably most people here in all reality.
Yeah, we had no idea.
But yeah, I mean, that was for sure one of the worst moments. I wish, like I texted everybody and said I wish I could have taken that back.
Well, I think it was good. I think that like, dude, you put 4 guys in a room for, collectively how much time have we spent together? There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be arguments. Like whether it's, it's any relationship, there's going to be things that pop up, and that shit needed to happen because it made it better afterwards.
We all grew from it, especially me. Like it was...
It was something, again, how it happened, obviously not ideal, but the fact that it did happen, I feel like kind of kicked and revved things up.
I feel like even everybody as a whole group since then, we've really tried to elevate the podcast. Like I feel like everybody's kind of made the podcast a priority, essentially. I mean, we've kind of talked, like there's times where obviously somebody has something going on, they're not gonna be able to make it. Like shit, I haven't been here for like a month. But it's just, I feel like now we're looking at this as a business. And maybe that was like one of the turning points of that.
And I think at the end of the day, too, we have a lot of conversations around like coaching and mentoring and what that actually looks like, having a cheerleader versus someone who's actually going to hold you accountable. And I definitely felt that way whenever we got done with that conversation. And I even reached out to you afterwards and was like, I want you to mentor me. And you're like, I'm not in the spot to do this. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. I was like, just know that I want that kind of stuff. Cause I look up to you guys, and I've gotten emotional just even thinking about it. And shoot, call me a wuss, but like the amount of leveling up that I feel like I've done and here, like nowhere near where a lot of you guys are at. But I even said this to Matt the other day whenever we had breakfast on Saturday. And I was just like, dude, I don't know if I bring any value to our friendship. And I was like being dead serious because like I meet up with him and he's just like, because I'm looking into finally taking the steps to doing my first real estate investment. And I would have never done that if it wasn't for this group and just a lot of the value that you guys can bring me. So I feel happy to be a part of this stuff. And it just shows that surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded is only going to help us all get better.
Well, so then go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that everybody here, like there's a value about you that I look up to, and there's a value about you, you know what I mean? And we probably all point that finger and say there's something about them that I like a lot, like your energy and the way you keep things positive are like huge. Like I even like at first, whenever you first joined and before the whole blowout, it was kind of like, dude, how the fuck can you be so positive all the time? But I appreciate that. And I've grown to like love it, and it's like, I wish I had more of that for sure. So it's those little qualities that we all kind of get to feed off of each other, I think.
Yes, 100%. So, and that's a good point. I thought about this for a long time because it's like we're all in different places in our lives in like a lot of different ways. But it's like with this podcast, it's like I feel like all of us, like everybody has a place where they could look up to the person across from them in some way, shape, or form. And we're all helping each other level up in that way. There's just a lot of different ways. And you mostly think about like the financial piece, because that's what's talked about a lot in like professional personal development or in podcasts. But it's like everybody's gaining something off of everyone in this podcast. But Bobby talked about like changes and how he's looking to grow and level up. So let's just skip to that one. What are the biggest changes? So remember, we started in 2020. We started mid-2020. What are the biggest changes that have happened in your life since we started the podcast?
Shit, man. I'll go. So I even pulled screenshots from Instagram whenever, because we had done this on one of the podcasts before, back to whenever like I was posting that I had just started 75 Hard and I was so new in it that I called it Hard 75, which I actually saw in that and I was like, what a dork. But I mean, from then it was just Matt saying, hey, got some guys getting together, talk about personal, professional things. You should come by sometime on a Wednesday. And I was like, shoot, I got it locked down. Tell me what date. It's at NextCore. Pop by. And then it's funny, I see on here the next message in here just said, you're officially in the crew on July 15th, a week after. And it was just like, looking back on that, shoot, that's coming up on 2 years since I came to the first episode ever. And I can say in that amount of time, like I went through like 75 hard for the most part, minus the golf, right? I'm doing it again now, day 31, and no golf, or at least I'm not counting golf as a workout. But now, like going through it all again, I'm trying to get my head so much more clear, and then actually like following through with some of the things that I say I want to do, like these investment properties, and get my sales team to a point where it can kind of run without me. So from a growth standpoint, I don't know, I feel so much more focused on where I'm going rather than just like being present in the moment and just being happy about what's going on that weekend or something. I'm not living for that shit. I'm thinking 5 years down the road right now. So that's probably my biggest change, is I never thought that way.
Yeah. I think for me, if I look around at all the, where I'm at, I guess, and I kind of, over the last 2 years, all the things that I like manifested from fucking, 18, 19, 20, all the way up to age 30, I'm 34 now, they all kind of came to fruition in the last couple of years in terms of like, I wanted to do, and I'll just fucking say them. I wanted to have a lake house. I've always wanted to fucking have a lake house. I ended up getting the lake house. I'll have a commercial building with X amount of employees. Like, I feel like I'm running an actual business now. I was able to join a club. So there's a lot, and then financially I hit a lot of those goals. And so now, there's some other things I need to work on, but I think just, I worried about that so much throughout my 20s as I was like trying to figure everything out, and it all kind of came to fruition after this group had started. So I think that's, when I look back, I think that's, being a part of this has definitely made an impact on that stuff getting knocked down and checked off the box, basically.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. I forgot 2 years ago, because we were both in NextCore, and you had 1.5 more employee than I did, which was 0. Yeah. That's nuts. Brad, what do you got?
Mine's still all the financial side of things, really. Like, just got my stuff back from the accountant for the end of June. It's July now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The end of June. Sorry.
Q2.
And for the end of Q2. So I got my report, year to date. And the numbers that we hit at year to date were the end of last year's entire year. And like, I had that conversation with my dad driving me up for surgery yesterday. And it's like, it's hard to believe like what can happen as quickly as it does. And it's just that snowball effect of momentum. And like I told you guys before, like when Dan asked me to come to that first book club, I don't even know last time I read a book, and like that's where I feel like this group really started, was that book club.
Mm-hmm.
As gay as it was, and like sitting around like reading a book.
Hella gay.
Like,
Not that there's anything wrong with
there's
that.
nothing wrong with being gay. Everybody's got a price too. But it's just the fact of like, I feel like that's when the snowball for me really started to develop. And like now I just like kind of buy books to read when I get to them or at some point, and I feel like if I didn't have you guys around me, like just even like the daily text messages of like, just sometimes it's bullshit. Sometimes it's actually something serious. I feel like there's an accountability around you for that.
Yeah. Well, and getting like, everybody in the group sometimes does, but like getting to celebrate your wins.
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, like you texted us about the aerospace deal, and that was, yeah, I agree 100% on that. So did you have another one before we go?
Good.
So I have a handful. I won't take too long on them. I did the whole Live Hard program, and I never thought I would do 75 Hard. It was because actually we all started it together. I don't know if you guys remember that when I did 75 Hard, we all started it together. And then I don't know.
You never started it. You
No.
didn't start it the first time.
No, but I'm saying, the time I did it, we all started it together.
I see what you're saying.
We
Gotcha.
all, yes. And then Brad was just like, fuck this, I quit. And we don't even know if Dan actually did anything. Like, we don't know. Like, Dan kept saying, and Dan kept getting pissed because we were trying to do content. We were trying to get content. And Bobby was like, hey.
He was so mad
He's like,
at
make
me.
a quick video.
I actually was doing up to that
and it was
point.
never-
And then
and-
I went to Vegas.
And because I talked
that'll fuck it.
to Matt about that, and I was like, I'm not trying to like catch Dan in a lie. I'm literally just trying to put out some TikToks so I can bring some more value, so I don't get yelled at.
Well, it's because
And Dan was like,
Just annoying.
dude, fuck you. I'm actually doing it. And I was like,
It's 'cause I hate
take a picture of
fucking-
your scrambled eggs.
well, I just like hate like the exposure to it. Like in terms of like I hate working out and all that shit. And it's
Fair.
just like fuck. Now I gotta take a fucking video of myself like doing this shit.
Those
like,
jump rope videos, though.
No,
that's in the spank bank.
Hey, the video of Dan after the other Brofessional podcast called us out, and Dan's using his VR and boxing.
Yeah.
And then Brad throws the audio on it in a TikTok. It's Dan Bilzerian. It goes, the reason I get so much top tier pussy.
I
need
forgot about that
I gotta
one.
find that.
Yeah, I still have it. Yeah, I got it on my drafts. I'll send it to you guys.
That
So
should be
doing
posted.
the Live Hard program, I won't delve into that. That obviously changed my life. Let's see. Oh, so when we started, I was renting a house, paying $1,150 a month in rent. Now I have 2 houses, which are a total of 3 doors, and basically my one property that I have alone, my duplex, pays between the Airbnb and that like. Well, first off, I've got tenants and I also do an Airbnb, and both of those collectively pay for basically both mortgages. There's like a $50 difference from what I pay for one mortgage. So essentially, went from 0 mortgages paying rent to two mortgages and having those rents paid for because I learned the real estate side of things, which is why I'm doing real estate full time right now. And I believe this podcast helped me to kind of get there as well. Obviously, Dan played a fucking huge part in that. And then, so this will be an interesting one. And it's going to sound weird, but you guys know like I was big on vision boards and like, putting shit out there. You guys actually made fun of me because I had a picture of a guy with abs a couple of years ago.
Well,
when
he
we
was
started
wearing
this.
underwear,
right?
Yeah.
He was not wearing underwear. You couldn't even see his fucking
Tidy
underwear.
whities.
No, I don't think
I feel
so.
like Dan's not lying about this.
I feel like you're too fucking high to remember. So,
Go to sleep.
But anyway, so one of the things that I had back in 2019 was I had a goal to have millionaire friends. Like I had a goal to have friends that were making $1 million plus a year. And I was just like, which sounds so weird, but it's like I didn't grow up around money. I didn't know anybody who was a millionaire. And then all of a sudden, and we can cut this out if you're not comfortable having it, but all of a sudden Dan had his first $1 million year, which was obviously a big deal. And then, started becoming friends with Josh Sample, and then like Sam Prim, Lucas Wall, Brian Schroeder, all the people from Pastor House are millionaires. And it's like all these people, and there's like people in the Bros in Business Mastermind, right?
Yeah.
They come in. So it's like weird that it's like, I don't know. Like I said, like that was just kind of a cool thing to me because I was just like making $1 million is nowhere near where I am right now a year. But like the more I surround myself with people, the more realistic it becomes, and the more I realize it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of when, right?
Yeah.
So that was some cool things that happened to me. But yeah, that's what I got.
The fact you actually just said that, it's like pretty cool too, because the relationship that I built when we went to Bedros was when I started the racing deal again. And that group of people that I've been around with there is just like the same thing you're saying. It's like I've never been around people that are worth like this caliber of money.
Yeah.
And it's like definitely puts your mind in a totally different place of like what you want for yourself in the future.
100%. Yeah. And it's being around those people. Yes. Being around those people and seeing how their mentality is. I can do it. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Dan, it's the yachts. It's the yacht effect, right? It's like, I see the yachts. I see the people that are driving those yachts. It's like, that dude can have a fucking yacht. I can have a fucking yacht. Right. And I think that's the more you surround yourself with friends and you realize you're not that different from the people around you. It's like, I can do that shit too. Brad's about to pass out, I feel like. his eyes just got super heavy. I think we're getting to the end of this. I skipped a couple of things. You guys know what's in there. Anything in particular you guys want to talk about?
We have to say the worst guest we had
Yeah.
on.
Oh yeah,
that's
best,
what I wanted to
best
say.
and worst.
We all got it. We're all the
Jordan
same.
Harbinger.
Jordan Harbinger.
Fucking-
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
guy sucked
He's
ass.
kind of a douche canoe.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also we paid him.
We paid him. We paid him $500.
And he said it was a
For
donation.
a charity?
Yeah.
And he's not doing any there's no because he posts all his shit on social.
We need to ask him. What
Did we get, like,
charity
a
he
tax
goes to.
deduction
Can
for
we
this
see where
shit?
that
Yeah.
money went?
Yeah.
Was that the-
I guarantee
we'll
it
tell him
wasn't
we
for
need
charity.
the 50C3 for a tax deduction and see what he says.
Was that on Zoom?
Yeah.
And then
Okay,
what
I
we'll
figured-
do?
I was like, that
and
was
then what we'll do is we'll get Steve Nations to write an because Nations got into it.
Nations fucking hates him.
So then we'll get Nations to write an article about Harbinger charging people $500 for a donation, but it's not true.
Yeah, that would be
And then
great.
that will go to Forbes and our podcast will blow up.
Yep.
Damn. Yep.
Damn.
That's how we want to make it, right? Just fucking burning another man down.
That's what it takes.
What do you mean? He's saying he's getting donations?
He might be. We don't know that.
And my favorite podcast guest would have been Ryan Mickler. I actually really enjoyed that one with him.
Yeah, you liked him a lot. You'd been listening for a while before we had him on.
Yeah, I mean, for me, he just like matched really well at the time. I think he's kind of like maybe flown a little bit in the direction of Frisella, where it's like the politic talk is like almost a little bit too much for me.
Consumes
Like,
it.
so that's where I'm at now.
Yep. But it was right when we started, and then he had the mentality of like it's the order of man, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like surrounding yourself with the tribe and doing all. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
That was fitting. So who was we all just did not like Harbinger? Is that just a consensus, or is there somebody that you
no,
like?
that was what I had on, or well, what I was thinking. I couldn't remember his name though. That's how memorable he was.
Yeah. So then favorites, you two?
Well, I would say that Case Kenny one was a little off too.
Oh yeah, Case. Well, were you there for that?
No, but I listened to it.
You actually
I
listened
like
to
the
it?
Case Kenny one.
Bobby
I
loved.
thought it was cool.
Loved Case
I
Kenny.
thought it was fun.
I didn't dislike him. He just was not my full speed. It just,
Too much
At
competition.
the time, I haven't listened to him.
probably.
hate
I'm
him.
just like, God
Too
damn it.
much competition.
I'm just
Too
like,
much
this,
competition.
You just
this is
need
the
to
one
start-
guy that pulls more than me. I can't
You
fucking
just
like
need to
him.
start writing shit on coffee cups.
Yeah,
And just
take a picture of it.
Pretty much. That's it.
Love.
But
and
it's
then
a-
set it on Starbucks and chicks will just line up.
I'll just fucking write it on empty beer cans. So who was your favorite? Did you guys say your favorites or your least?
I thought you were going to say your favorites.
I think we can all agree. I think that the Frisella one, I really enjoyed. It was kind of like a wow factor because he was like one of the first people that I started following,
Mhm.
right? And it was in person. But I will say, like Ben Newman, I really enjoyed that. He had to go, but he still gave us some extra time. Plus, Attack the Process. Like that's one thing that I live by with, especially with like sports. Like, don't worry about other shit. Just attack what I'm doing.
Right, we know the golf tournament story.
Yeah, we told him.
Yeah.
No, Sven
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Denmark.
Yep.
So Sven from Denmark, he was at a golf tournament once, and on hole 14,
Is this a real person?
yeah, Sven.
Okay.
Yeah, from Denmark.
It's
From
spelled
Denmark.
D-A-N though.
Denmark.
Anyways, it was a social house. Is that what it is?
The place with the painted boobies.
Yeah, it was a
Yep.
social house golf tournament. So they bust
Ah.
in a bunch of girls.
Strippers.
Yeah. And you got and Sven on the last par 3 at Gateway National, this chick says, if you can hit the green, I want you to smack my ass as hard as you possibly can. And so Sven was like, fuck, I could do it. And so she opens her legs and starts like finger blasting herself while you're trying to tee off like 3 feet from you. And Sven, the only thing he could think was Ben Newman, Attack the Process. And he hit the green.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
that's-
And then
that's
he got to
fucking
smack her
awesome.
ass.
Yeah. So, but the Frisella thing was definitely the game changer. Having him on, like we talked about it, and then it was just like also the kind of the realness of it because we're local. Like Frisella's local in St. Louis, and so that's when people were like, "Oh shit! Like you guys, like how the fuck did you guys get him on?" And that's when like personally I started getting like recognition individually from like people asking about the podcast, and that's when people were.
That's why
randomly
it's
like,
on your Hinge profile.
What
The Frisella
Podcast.
picture.
the Frisella picture?
Oh,
Dude,
is
I
it?
took that picture.
It's not. It
I
was.
took the picture
I
of you
changed it.
talking.
I changed him up. What's
Oh.
that? Oh, the
And I texted
He's
that
cut
to you.
some fat
Speaking?
since then.
Why not?
Yeah.
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 Why didn't I get photo cred? Like a little.
I don't think I
Photo
can. I don't
emoji
think I can
at
tag you
Dana.
in Hinge. I don't think I can
I
tag
hope
you.
not.
Yeah. No, but that was by far the best one. What guys? Come the fuck
You know,
on.
another one that was secretly good was when I walked in and it started with Jason Selk. I was like, this is going bad. And by the time we left, that was probably actually another one of my favorite ones. Jason was super cool, and I think it was like a we showed that we had some credibility. And
Yep.
he was like, okay, well, these guys know what they're actually talking about. And that
Well-
one actually was a cool episode after it was all said and done.
1,000,000,000%. Like you already said, like winning those guys over and like having them say like, you guys like are good. This was great. This was the best podcast I've ever done. Like that was really cool. So I know we're actually kind of running over on time. We'll probably end up splitting this into 2 episodes. But the last question that I have, we're 100 episodes in. Anything in particular that you guys are looking forward to in the next 100 episodes? Any goals? Any ideas? Anything?
I think, and I'll speak pretty freely here. I've learned that I think the next 100 episodes, the focus for me is the Masterminds and is growing. I don't know if it's the brand or we changed the name. We've talked about that, but for me, that's what I actually get more value out of now. Like the pod was a great stepping stone, and now I'll still be here and everything. I just feel like I got the purpose out of the pod. We've met some really cool people. We've done some really cool things, and we'll keep bringing as much content as possible. But like growing, I would say 100 episodes took us 2 years. So if I look 2 years in the future and we keep doing these masterminds, if we can scale that somehow and have, some type of retreat or some type of conference or something like that, like that's just my high level goal that I think we would have where we grow it on a national scale with the in-person and with the, other stuff that we do. Cause that's where I see the most value that we can bring, in my opinion.
I'm the same way. For me, like to look at like 100 episodes is more like a timeline thing. Like you're saying, like what's 2 years from now look like?
It'll actually be 1 year now that we're doing 2 a week.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, but to me, I think the value we've produced with the Masterminds is, I think if we can scale that, like you're saying, is not only something where we could actually start making a little bit of money off of it, but we're going to touch a lot more people, I think, than we are with the podcast.
Yep, I had the same thing. I wrote more amazing guests, but most importantly, helping other people in St. Louis, and then obviously outside of St. Louis. But that's where all of our meetups have been, our masterminds and whatnot. So helping people grow and then connect with the people that they need to grow where they need to. Obviously, a success story like Tommy is cool among a lot of the other things that we've seen. So I think we'll have some good guests coming up here in this next year.
Yep, getting a focus back to some guests is going to be cool. I think growing the mastermind is definitely going to be fun because we're just kind of tipping the iceberg with that. And then really speaking on guests, a goal that just came to me, Ed Milet's like probably number 1 on my list, which obviously he's like a degree of separation away from us. So he's definitely gettable. But my goal is, and maybe this isn't over the next year, maybe in the next 2 years, is to get him on the podcast and we go to his island that he bought and do a podcast on his island. So
That'd be fucking epic.
you guys write that down. And if it doesn't happen in like 3 years, I'll come back and I'll delete this part.
We don't have to write it down. It's on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. The show notes, right? Yeah. Cool. Anything else you guys got? No? I think we ran. What are we running on? What time we got? It's got to be at least an hour, right?
Yeah, the podcast.
Yeah, okay.
You did on hour 10.
Hour 10.
And just a heads up, you've got about 13 more minutes to get it over here.
Cool. We're getting out of here anyway. Okay, guys. Thank you for tuning in to 100 episodes. 100 episodes in. We appreciate everything. If you like our information or if you get any value out of this, please leave us a review and share this with a friend. Otherwise, we will see you next week for 101.
Peace.
Deuces.
See ya.